Sightlines are an issue we can address with moving of some of the fencing and so on, but we're also keeping some seats free so we can move people if we need to, but it's clearly something we have to address, and we will.
Can you get all these changes done in time for that home opener?
Absolutely. We've got a couple weeks, and they've assured us they'll tear it right down and redo it and make sure that all the issues are addressed, and they're comfortable, and so are we, that it'll be in place for our next game.
What are they going to tear down?
They'll take the seat. Just take the seats out. Take all the seats out, and then do a reinstall with an upgraded install, because there were several seats that came loose, right out, broke. I understand it has to do with the weld and how it was done, but they're confident that there's a solution, and quite frankly, we have to have, or else we're not going to put people in them. But they'll be safe and ready to go.
Did anybody get hurt, Jim?
Excuse me?
Did anybody get hurt?
We had some people, get nicked, and we haven't had any reports of serious injuries, but even the nicks aren't acceptable. And of course, it kind of ruins your game day experience when that happens. So we're trying to take care of those folks, and we'll do the safety checks in the south. We didn't have, any major issues like we did in the north, but clearly there's some work that has to be done, and we'll make sure we get after that.
Is there a way to address the gradient? Because I heard some people complaining that, like last year, the seats are up a little higher than today.
That's not something we can change, and that was the best we could do with what we were doing. And I think it's clearly different for some of the folks. Other people were pretty happy. Generally, the reviews in the south were very positive, but we got to work with what we have in the north. But more importantly, make sure those seats stay in place and we don't have any problems.
Why aren't the similar seats that are in the south and the north side?
Has to do with what we do next year for. Oh, you mean in terms of the style? Yeah. Oh, it clearly came down to what was available. We were able to pick up some seats at different pricing, and was what was available out there in the market, and how many we could get here in time for the season. So it was more about availability and getting them here in time. So that was the reason.
Have you heard any other complaints in terms of the stability of them, and not just?
I think for people that aren't used to temporary seats, people would say, well, they tend to move. Well, if you sat in our temporary seats before, you know that there's a little more movement than what you have in a regular seat. But in terms of safety, they're really secure in terms of being on footings and so on. We're not concerned about that. I think it's just a matter of getting used to it. But the seat issue itself, the actual seat, has to be addressed, and will be. And I think overall we had a lot of positive comments. So people like the look of the stadium, the feel of the stadium. They love the new boards. A lot of positive comments about the seats in both end zones. So, but that to us is outweighed by the fact we've got some problems and we've got to fix them.
Why did it take a game to find out what these problems with the gym? Was that time to test them?
Well, you test, but you don't unless you bring in 31,000 people, and that was the challenge for us. And of course, you get fans who are exuberant. They shouldn't stand on seats. They stand on seats. They shouldn't walk on seats. They walk on seats. So, but those are the realities of life. And we thought we had a plan, and obviously we had challenges, and we take it very seriously. We're not happy, and we'll make sure that it's good for the next game.
For the fans who aren't happy, what is it? Just pretty well suck it up and show up the next game? Or?
No, we've been working with them one-on-one, and dedicated a lot of our ticket staff to that challenge. We've kept a lot of seats out of the inventory, good seats, so that we can move people. We probably could have sold more on Friday night, but we wanted to make sure there were seats available if people didn't like where they were. So we're bringing them down, asking them to try different seats, different configurations, and just absolutely trying to do our best to make sure they're happy before we lose them as season ticket holders or game day attendees.
Was anyone given a ticket that didn't exist in the end zones?
They may have when you put in this many seats and you have the inventory, but you probably noticed we had a lot of extra hosts and hostesses out, and we tried to deal with those right on the spot. We had people out in the stands. We also, on top of everything else, switched over to a new ticket company this year. Ticketmaster is now doing all of our ticketing, and we think that's a good decision long term, but we were dealing with that. We had some tickets that didn't scan properly, so it's sort of what can go wrong will go wrong. And then we had the Farm Progress show, and we've got parking issues because there's so many vehicles over from the Farm Progress, and we've also had to change parking. So overall we were happy that we were able to get the game off, and generally it went well, but there's definitely some issues we'll work through, and we've got to solve them, and we will.
Heard that some of the ATMs ran out of cash too, which I suppose isn't a very good thing when you're trying to sell merchandise. Have you been made aware of that issue?
Well, I haven't heard that one, but that's a good news, bad news. It means they spent a lot of money in our stadium, but we need more money. We actually had a great day in the stores. One of our, really probably our best preseason day. We had a great day with concessions, and not surprisingly, beer sales were pretty good. So, overall, a lot of positives, but we've got to get those problems fixed.